guys, this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So I need to replenish my stocks of like journal stuffers. So I've got here some thicker kind of card. This is 210, I think it is, GSM, and it's in this craft colour card. And then I've just got 3 sheets of decorative papers. These are all on 120 GSM and they're just kind of like a presentation paper. They are printables. So all I'm going to do is just fold these in half along the length like that to get my kind of like foundation pieces. And then what I want to do is get like, basically we're going to be making 4 tags per half, if you see what I mean. So 8 tags per whole sheets. So I'm just going to be folding this like that. That's going to be my kind of basic size of my tags. So just going to be doing this kind of like quickly. So hopefully we can get like tons and tons of these made. Honestly, I made a whole bunch of journal stuffers kind of thing in our journal fillers series that we did, and it must be about a year and a half ago, probably actually getting on for 2 years ago. I think we did it in between Christmas and New Year, I think the year before last. And to be honest, those fillers have kind of kept me going all this time. I'm not saying only those, obviously I've had other things that I've used to fill journals as well, but my supplies are now running quite low and I just hate that. So I go into kind of like panic mode then and start thinking, oh no, you know, I've got nothing to fill journals with. So I thought, let's come along and do this really super quickly, that we'll be able to kind of like then, you know, have a whole bunch of things ready made. So just going to cut these down like that. And in that series, I can't remember, to be honest, how many things we made, but it was a lot. I'm kind of feeling like actually I should rerun that series because it was so productive and I just have loved having so many things ready to use. You know, it's been so helpful, to be honest, because I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when I make the journal, or, you know, when I finish making a journal, it's the stuffing that really kind of like throws me out. You know, the making takes a long time. And then you feel like you've finished and then it's like, oh my goodness, I now need to fill all those pockets. And that's the bit that, you know, just seems to take like forever. So if you can have as many things as possible ready made, it's such a huge time saver. And I personally find that sort of like, you know, like a feeling of the pressure is off then. It's like, oh, I've got tons of things to stuff the pockets with. It just, yeah, saves like a whole bunch of time. So yeah, I must have a look on that series and see how many things we did actually get made, because I feel like it was a lot. We were very productive. So yeah, let me know if you would like to have a rerun of that series, because, you know, definitely my supplies have dwindled, and maybe like me, your supplies also have dwindled. And, you know, it's nicer to do things together, isn't it, rather than just doing them alone. So yeah. So I quite like giant tags generally, but these tags are going to be smaller, you know, just for kind of like popping into pockets and things like that. So although, you know, I'm still true to my word and I still do love big tags generally, these are just going to be a whole bunch of just ready-made, super quick and, you know, quick and sort of efficient tags for popping into pockets and things. So now, the reason why I'm doing this individually, you know, like cutting the pieces of paper individually rather than just gluing down a whole sheet of paper, is because when we come to actually then cut the tags out, if you've glued down the whole piece of paper, the chances are your pieces aren't going to really be to the, you know, the glue isn't going to be to the edges, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like easier really to glue them down as individual pieces, and then you should find that then what you've got is actual pieces with glue to the edges, if that makes sense. So like that, and then yep, just get these. So this is from my Peacock Palace in the pinks, and this is my Roses collection papers. So we're just going to kind of like glue them down like that. So Now, I will be cutting these into tag shapes. And what I mean by that is, you know, doing the corners. But just to get these down on the pieces of paper, I'm not going to be gluing the corners down. I'm just going to glue them down as kind of rectangles. And then what I'll do is I'll just kind of like focus on gluing a bit of extra, like here, if you see what I mean. So put the glue down and then just, you know, a bit of extra in the corner, like that. Okay, so glue that one down. I'm going to try and go up to the actual edges of the paper, the craft paper, because then hopefully that will give me at least one straight edge that, you know, I'm not going to need to recut, if you see what I mean, because that's going to be the straight edge against that craft paper. So that one. Do the next one. Can't remember which way up this is, so I'll just check. Yep, so a bit of extra in the corners there, like that. Yeah, I mean, obviously it didn't make much sense when I was describing it, but what I'm saying is, if I just glued the whole piece of paper down now, I'll just mop out the desk, otherwise I'm going to end up with this all with glue on the underneath of the tags. If I had just glued the whole piece of paper down here, when I came to then cut them out, I just could then find that actually the glue isn't in the right places for where I'm cutting the tags, if that makes sense. So I just think this is a more efficient way, although it seems like, oh, you're cutting twice, you know, which seems less efficient. Actually, when it comes to then your pieces being glued down properly in the right way, this is actually more efficient. So, you know, sometimes it swings in roundabouts, you know, like what seems kind of more efficient in one way could end up taking you more time because, you know, your pieces aren't going to be glued down properly. And vice versa, you know, what seems like, oh, you know, that's taking a long time because now I'm cutting it twice, actually can actually end up saving you time because you're not then having to like then mess about re-gluing bits that aren't kind of like stuck down. So yeah, but obviously, you know, it's up to you, and if you prefer to stick the whole piece of paper down, then, you know, that would be fine too. Just for me personally, I think this is probably, you know, a bit more quick overall because it's going to be made properly, you know, the bit's going to be made properly. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? You don't want your pieces kind of like peeling up around the edges, really. Okay. I can't remember how many of these we made in the last, you know, when I did do that series, to be honest. I should really have a look and see. But, I mean, to be honest, while I'm in the zone, what I should do is try and make, like, I don't know, 100 of these or something like that. You know, like, I don't know whether, like, you could spend a whole day making one thing. So, you know, a whole day of making this and then a whole day of making something else. And if you could get, like, say 100 of something, I mean, imagine how long that would last you. I mean, wouldn't that feel awesome to have all those tons of things ready made? It would feel really, really brilliant, wouldn't it? Like, really efficient. Yeah, I mean, it's unlikely that I'm going to be doing that, but I would love to, you know, I would love to be that, you know, like that dedicated. And what I mean by that, I would find that so mind-numbingly boring to be doing that. But the feeling of having all those bits ready made afterwards would feel unbelievable, to be honest. So, yeah, I mean, it's another one of those swinging roundabouts, isn't it? You know, the pain at one end, i.e. the day spent making those things, although really boring, and you'd be like, oh my goodness, how many more of these am I making? Versus the, oh my goodness, look how many of these things I've got made. I'm not sure which is, you know, which is the lesser of the evils, if that makes sense. Oops. Did them quite close together because I wasn't sure whether I was then going to have room to put them all down, but now I've got this one like with just a huge gap at the edge. Okay. Now, obviously you can stitch around these, and that's another thing. If you've stuck your whole piece of paper down on the whole piece of paper, a little tip really is, you know, if you go round with your sewing machine and stitch around the edge of these, it's going to just help with the hole not being perhaps glued right to the very edges. So, you know, that's another kind of like bit of a tip really. But I know not everybody's got a sewing machine, and not everybody, you know, wants to use their sewing machine with paper, and that's fair enough, isn't it? You know, I mean, I felt very nervous when I first used my sewing machine with paper, and I thought, oh my goodness, I'm going to break my machine. I mean, actually, I find it sometimes goes through paper more easily than it goes through fabric. So, I mean, obviously, they weren't invented to go through paper. But, yeah, sometimes I feel like, oh, the paper actually glides through, where sometimes on fabric it can be kind of like, you know, not gliding. Right, we'll just put those to one side. We'll just do another sheet. So hopefully I'm going to get all 3 sheets covered with these. So I might just stop the video and do this, because I'm sure that you probably don't want to just see me gluing down my 3. Just thinking, is that upside down? Can't really see what that font is there. I think it was up the right way. Yeah, I'm sure you don't really want to see me just gluing down all these separate bits of paper. But then you see, I think, oh, if you are crafting along, then we are making together in real time, aren't we? Whereas if I kind of like stop, then I've done a whole bunch, and you maybe are still doing the, you know, putting of your pieces of paper down. So, you know, from that perspective, I think, oh, it doesn't really seem quite fair then. I guess it depends really if you're, you know, crafting along, or whether you prefer to be just getting the idea and then going off in your own time making what we've, you know, what we've made. Okay, push this in down. I mean, again, I do use an awful lot of glue, and I know that, you know, somebody did comment a while back saying, why do you use so much glue? I use so much glue because I can't stand, you know, my pieces lifting, you know, 3 months later or 6 months later or whatever. I prefer to use tons of glue and think, oh, they've really stuck down really well, than not really use enough and then be like, oh, my pieces are now lifting. Nobody wants that, do they? Okay. Oops. And I mean, the other thing is, obviously, if you're doing something like this, you know, you're going to want to make them in a whole bunch of different sort of colourways as well. Because, you know, sometimes, and I know we talk about this and laugh about it, but, you know, you can have all the things made in the world, but then the chances are when you come to use them, they're maybe not the right colours, you know. So still you find that, you know, you haven't actually got the right things to make a journal from even then, or stuff a journal with even then. So, you know, if you did spend a day of like doing, say, 100 of these, then you could really do like a whole bunch, literally in every single colour. So you could have like a neutral set, you could have a green set, a pink set, you know, a brown, a black, all of that. And then you're going to have something to go with pretty much every kind of colour journal that you do. I mean, don't get me wrong, the chances are you're still going to find that, oh no, you've done a journal in a weird and fun, wonderful colour that you'd, you know, never dreamt that you would do, and still not going to actually, you know, work. This from my Shabby Chic set 2 collection papers. So okay, actually let's glue 2 down at a time and then spread the glue, because hopefully that's going to be slightly quicker. Oops. Slightly quicker than doing them, you know, glue in, spreading, glue in, spreading. Okay, like that. Okie dokie. Right. This one. Okay. There we go. Just again, mop that glue out. Okay, and a couple down here. I mean, famous last words, I don't really feel like I've got a good, you know, colour combination on here, to be honest. I really, yeah, wasn't particularly great with my mixing up of the colours, was I? I've got mainly the same colours. Pinks. Pinks and blues, pinks and greens. Pinks and pinks. So, yeah, again, another case of, oh, do as I say, not as I do. I think, you know, full of these good ideas, and then, yeah, my execution obviously just lets me down. That being said, I mean, I do obviously make predominantly pretty, you know, pink coloured journals, so, you know, the chances are these are the right colours probably for my journals that I'm making. But yeah, I mean, that being said, I do love making black journals, so I haven't got any that would go in a black journal here. Right, okay. Right, 2 sheets down. I'm going to do the quick last sheet, you know, off camera. So hold on. I'm so sorry. It's now the next day. Got kind of like, yeah, interrupted, and then, you know, the whole day went by and didn't get back to doing this. So what I did, I have cut my pieces into kind of like tag size pieces. And then all I'm going to do is literally snip the corners down. So I'll just take the corners on one, and then I'll probably use that as like a template for the others. So just going over like that. And then I can just use that as a little bit of a template for my other tags. So, oops, let's just check that they're up the right way. That one wasn't. So lucky I did double check. So, yep, I can go through and just snip all of the corners off like that. So these two, I'll just do like a handful basically, and then we'll get kind of decorating them. Obviously I'm just trying to do these, you know, really quickly, like I said yesterday, for you guys 5 minutes ago, but yeah, for me it was yesterday. You know, so that we can just make these really kind of like quickly and efficiently, not sort of dragging the process out really. So just so that, you know, you've got then a bunch of bits ready made really super quick. So like that. Honestly, I'm so chilly today. I don't know whether I'd said that yesterday. Maybe it wasn't chilly yesterday. I can't even remember, to be honest, what the weather was like yesterday. But yeah, it's really chilly today. I mean, it does look like a nice day, although I say that, it's actually not looking that nice now. It was looking really nice earlier, but yeah, it seems to have deteriorated. Oh my goodness, so's my cutting. Did you see that? Oh my gosh, it's no better. Wow, that's really a weird shape tag. So I can just like trim down the edges and kind of like try and make it look a little bit better, but yeah, I don't know what went on with that. It was not looking good at all. That's still not great, but better maybe than it was. Oh, I give up with using the piece as a template. I don't think that was really panning out very well. So yeah. Okay, just do a couple more. Okay, that. And this one. Okay, so then what I've done, I've printed off a whole bunch of things, which as you can see, you know, I've got some of those things right here, of just pieces that I'm going to use as toppers. Now, when we did these before in the series, I think we used like my cabinet, butterfly cabinet cards, and we used those pieces as the toppers. Today, I've brought along some other things. So I've printed off, first of all, like my music frames, and I've printed them two to a page. Now, I thought this was going to be better, but now I'm looking, I'm like, oh, they look really tiny. They might be going to be too small, but let's give this a try. So I'll just cut a handful of these out. Well, actually, I'll just start by cutting a couple out, literally one or two, because if they're going to be too small, there's no point in cutting a whole bunch, is there? So, okie dokie. Now, obviously, if you've got a situation like this where actually your pieces are, you know, possibly going to be a bit too small, although actually now I've put it on there, it's okay. I mean, it's possibly a bit small, but it's not too bad. If you've got a scenario like this, then you might want to build them up slightly by just kind of layering some paper and things like that under them. So, you know, if you've got bits that you think, you know, they would be perfect, but they're actually a little bit on the small side. So let me just take a couple of the bird ones. And we'll just take, I think, these couple here on this edge, because they look slightly bigger. I'm not saying bigger than these, but bigger than some of the others. So I'll just quickly cut around this, and I might even just kiss cut this, and then that's adding a little bit of size to this. Okay, so like that. Okie dokie. I have got some other bits printed that are, you know, full size, not 2 to a page. So I will do a couple of those as well, because, you know, like I say, I think in hindsight, maybe these are actually a bit on the small side still for these. So let me just bring in a couple more bits that I've got printed, you know, full size. So these are my ladies printables. So I'll just take a couple of these. And these, there's a few different sizes on here. So I'll take down what I would call like the smaller ones of them. Because even though I then said, let's go for the bigger ones, the biggest ones are possibly too big for the, you know, the tag size that I've made. So, yeah, it's just like the Goldilocks thing. And the amount of times that I say that, but, you know, one size too small, one's too big, you know. Then you've got to just find the ones that are just the right size. Okay. Okie dokie. Okay. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that I'm going to put them on the ones that they're on, or, you know, the ones that I've sort of put them on. I'm just putting them there for the minute. Just, you know, I'm not thinking about it at all. I've just popped them on. I mean, who knows? I might just keep them like that. Because sometimes, to be honest, you know, you're better off going with your first where you've shut them down. It's once you start messing about, that's when the overthinking comes in. So, you know, I might be better off just leaving them where I've kind of dropped them, if you see what I mean. So that one, let's just do a couple of these. This one I will again just kiss cut it, so actually just get around there. Okay. Yeah, I'm really chilly. Like, I don't know what's going on, but the sun was really shining just now, and now suddenly the sun's gone in. The house is freezing. I mean, I've got quite a thick cardigan on, but weirdly, even having my thick cardigan on and a pair of jeans, I'm literally freezing. So, yeah, I might have to go and get a second cardigan now. I mean, I always am filming ahead, so by the time this goes up, it might be like, you know, January, and hey, that would be fine. But I can assure you it's not January while I'm filming. So, to be honest, by rights, I shouldn't be needing to put on a second cardigan already. It's ridiculous. It's not the deep throes of winter whilst I'm filming, so okay. Oh, do you know, I actually can't wait to have all these done, because yeah, it's been bugging me, you know, that my supplies have dwindled so much. I really do hate that. So yeah, gonna make like tons and tons, I think, over the next couple of days. You know, there's nothing more satisfying than having like a really healthy kind of like stock of ready-made stuff. You know, it makes me feel really, yeah, really great. So I'm going to try and do that. Right, I've also got some of the music pieces, but full size. So I'm just going to take a couple of those now. So just take this one. well. Okay. So I thought I would mix it up rather than doing like all the same. I think in the series we did kind of do all the same. I think we did all butterflies. I mean, again, you know, I can't quite remember, but I feel like we did all butterflies, which today I just thought, oh, let's just, you know, do a few different ones. So yeah, like I said yesterday, or, you know, 5 minutes ago for you guys, I think what would be really nice is to actually, you know, if I had time, spend like a whole week or something and do like a whole bunch of different colorways. So I had like literally some black ones, some, you know, all different kind of colors and themes to work from. Right, okay, so these are my base tags. So I'm going to just now ink up my, you know, what's going to be my topper type pieces. So just ink around the edges there. And again, you know, if you don't mind not having your topper pieces inked, then you could obviously, you know, forego this step. And that's a whole, you know, a whole kind of like process that you've eliminated. I personally do quite like the whole, you know, inked up edges. But if you're happy without, then that's going to save you, you know, another bit of time. Which all those bits of time, you know, it sounds like really pathetic, but they do really kind of like mount up in the end. Okay. Like that. Now, obviously, I haven't inked my tags at all as yet. Okay. And last one, I think. Right. Okay, so that's my toppers done. And then what I've got here, I've got some of my French labels. Now, I've got a whole different variety of colours here. So we can kind of like go with, you know, all sorts of different colours to build up a, you know, good sort of range of stuff. So, I mean, that, to be honest, looks gorgeous on there, doesn't it? So I'm going to, again, place my bits. Because I'm trying to do this like a bit more assembly line. Then, you know, if I can place my bits all on there, then ink them all, then glue them all, it will be like an efficient way to make these. So take my labels, and because I'm quite partial to, you know, half a label, it might be that wherever I position the labels, maybe I will be cutting them in half, in which case, you know, that's also eliminating the cutting, because, you know, a label that I've cut out once might do 2 tags because I've then cut it in half. It might not, but let's just see where we position them in a minute. So I'll cut out a few, so we've got a few to choose from. Okie dokie. Like that. Weirdly, I almost feel like I'm doing a challenge here. You know, like I'm sort of like racing. Oh, see how many we can do. I don't know why I'm doing that. And to be honest, you know, any pressure is me putting that pressure on myself. So I'm not even too sure why I would be doing that. But yeah, I literally feel a bit like, oh my goodness, must get to move on because I've got to make loads. I mean, that's just crazy, isn't it? I don't know why that's going on. It's just all in my head. I'm like, oh, must hurry, must try and get tons and tons of these done. I wish I'd watched more of the original episode to see how many I did actually make in that episode. I'm going to have to go back to it, obviously, after this. If I remember, you know, on like the little end screen that comes up, I will try and remember to link the original video where we made these in that series. No promises there. I may well, you know, well, very big likelihood that I will forget to do that. But yeah, if I remember, I will. You know, and then you guys can see how many I made this time and last time as well. And, you know, although we're doing sort of very similar process, I mean, I'm hoping that these tags are going to look quite different to those tags that we made in that original video. You know, not because I didn't like them. You know, I did like them, but just so that we've got different you know, different looks going on. So yeah. Okay. Okie dokie. Right, nearly done with the cutting of the labels. Yep. Okie dokie. Right. Just quickly throw my bits of paper away. Right, so I just quickly then ink the labels up. And again, you know, if you're not bothered by having them inked up, this is a whole nother thing that you won't be doing again. So, yep. Like that. Okay. Now, on my kind of topper pieces, I think what I'm going to try and do is probably just put some lace poking out behind them. You could layer them up. Personally, I don't necessarily tend to layer things when they're like different shapes, you know, like that is a, you know, is a round shape. So I feel like to layer that is weird, you know. And again, that's not necessarily a sort of, oh, one size fits all, you know. I'm not saying I would never layer it up. I'm just meaning, you know, possibly I would prefer not to. So if I just show you what I mean. I mean, actually, it looks better than I expected. So, yeah, just disregard what I just said. Oh, I'm going to layer them like that after all. Oh, my goodness. Oh, don't pay any attention to anything I say, because clearly it's just all rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Right. So, yeah, let's cut that one in half. Now, do we want this poking out from under the topper, or like to the side? Or we could have it like that, to the side, but actually on top of the actual piece itself as well. Now, obviously, I don't want to have blue lace on there because, you know, it's got no blue on there. That would seem weird. Whoops, that would seem weird. So, yeah, let's try a little bit of this white sort of lace. Okay. Oh, my goodness, that's very pretty, isn't it? Right. I might run out of room here, so I might have to glue a couple down just to free up a bit of space on the desk. No, that one doesn't really go on there. Try this one. Yeah, that looks gorgeous, doesn't it? Now, should we have a bit more blue? So that blue did look good, didn't it? And this one is, you know, obviously not an irregular shape, so I've got no excuse for not using this one. Oops. Put that there. Put them there. Yeah, they look very lovely, don't they? Okay, try this one. Which colour? Maybe that, yeah. Okay. Now, do we think the blue lace, or I think probably the white actually, so, yep. Put that white down there. Sorry about my finger, I've got some Sharpie on there from something else I was doing. Oops. Yeah, that one looks gorgeous. Right, this one, probably a little bit of the green, the pink, or the blue. Yeah, maybe the pink. Maybe the pink. In fact, shall we try this down here? Sort of in the middle, just so we've got like a different sort of look going on. Again, just going to have a bit of the white lace. So, you know, I mean, I'm just using up stuff that was laying around on the desk, you know, I'm really trying not to, you know, get too bogged down with overthinking things. Right, okay, so let's do these ones so that I can get them out the way, because otherwise I'm running out of space. So again, just pop the labels down. Okay. Yep. Trying to see where my wipe's gone. There it is. I knew I had one there. Didn't see it for a minute. Right, there we go. And then this, just checking the lace is up the right way. Not that it really matters, but right. So this I'm going to just hot glue straight down, because obviously my hot glue is going to just hold the lace in place as well. So it's a kind of time-saving exercise. There we go. Right, I'm going to move them to one side and then we'll kind of finish them off in a minute. So this one, again, just glue the whole topper down on top of the lace. Like that. Oh my goodness, it's so chilly. Oh. Hate feeling cold. Right. Again, just going to pop this label down. Again, I'm putting this on with the hot glue because it's gluing over like a couple of different layers. So, you know, I just don't want to have to sit here pressing it down, because obviously I'm doing the video. That would be very annoying, because all the time you're pressing it, you can't really be doing anything else. So if I can just pop it down, you know, all at once, then that's better. Okay. So, I mean, to be honest, they're quite nice, aren't they? Even though, you know, I've put them on the papers quite randomly, tried not to overthink it or, you know, dwell too much on what I'm putting where. They're all looking, you know, pretty good, aren't they? So, you know, the toppers are sort of going really nicely on the tag bases and things, aren't they? Okay. And then this one, oops. Okay. Put that down. Hello, gorgeous. Bo has decided to get off my bed and come and join us. Come on then, sweetie. Hello, beautiful girl. Hello. So for anyone who doesn't watch my channel, Bo is my little sausage dog. Yeah, she's decided to just come in and join me. She's been asleep on my bed. She just like burrows under my throw that's on the end of my bed. She likes to sleep there really, but yeah, if she's not there, she's down in her little bed beside my craft, you know, beside my desk. Right here. Oh, she's looking gorgeous. Okay. She obviously gets a bit lonely and she's then like, oh, I'm going to come in and sit with you. To be honest, she used to be on my bed all the time, but actually I would say more these days she's in here. Although I'm now thinking maybe that's because it's been better weather, you know, it has been the summer. I mean, I'm filming this in the autumn, and maybe it's because it's been nicer weather, and perhaps as we go into winter she'll go back to sleeping on my bed, because she can obviously burrow under the throw and it's warmer than sitting in here. Hadn't really occurred to me until just then, and I thought, oh, actually, you know, maybe it's not really that she's changed her routine, but maybe she hasn't been feeling so cold, so that's why she's been in here. Right, okay, let's do the next bunch. In fact, we've got just 4 here, so I can fit another couple onto the table as well. Did I have some other paper, or did I just do these? No, I must have just done these papers, so, right, okay. Right, take that one, and, oh, honestly, I'm so freezing. What is going on? Really, really has got cold. We're obviously going to be in for a freezing cold winter. Which, oh, that's gutting. No one wants to be in for a freezing cold winter, do they? Okay, that one and this one. Sorry, my hot glue is like stuck on my ring, and you know, threads, and every time I move it's like dragging it around. Right, we've got those, so let me get another couple of toppers for these ones. So Okay, yeah, I'm thinking we'll do the music toppers because, yeah, I think they're going to look best with these. Let's take these two. One of them's got a rose on there, so let's do that as well. Maybe that one there, and maybe the rose one on the other one. Okay. Right. Yeah. So, you know, that one's going to be a bit of a different look again, isn't it? Oops, I haven't finished cutting this down. Let me just quickly cut this. Okay. So for these ones, what I might do is just to mix it up a little bit. So instead of having lace, perhaps we will pop a little bit of paper in the backgrounds. So let me pull in my scraps from yesterday when we were doing the, you know, layering of the actual tags themselves. And then what we could do is literally, oops, pop in some papers behind. So that one, oh, I've done that really big, haven't I? Put that there. Oh, it's a bit blending into that one, isn't it? So maybe we'll do that on there. Yeah, okay. That one. This is going to be too big. I'm not sure we'd be able to fit paper in there, to be honest. So yeah, that one might not really work out too well, but let's try it on this one. Oh, I'm so freezing. This is just driving me potty. Oh. Okay, and just, yeah, take that down. Just wondering whether we could kind of have it more sideways on rather than on the other ones. We've done them all in the middle, haven't we? So perhaps we'll put this one side on. Maybe that one we will as well, actually. Yeah, I think there, like that. Okay. And then, yeah, this one's probably too big as well. Hold on a second. I think that might be my son home. So, yeah, Bo's obviously going to be barking now. That one, and then let's do, got a little bit here of this damask paper, so a nice kind of contrast. So let's just pop this here. We'll just go, hang on a second, pop that there. Oops, hang on a second. And then this, I'm just wondering, I don't know about this. This might be a bit too clashy, but I'm trying to be a bit more adventurous and mix things up a little bit. But it might be just, it's too much of a clash. Oh no, it looks quite fun actually. Yes, quite like that. And then these two, like I say, I think they're a little bit too big on there to have paper coming out behind, really. I don't think it's going to look quite right. So this one, let's do a little bit of this colour lace, just so that, again, they're looking a little bit different to the, you know, the other batch that we did just a second ago. So that one, oh my goodness, that looks really good, doesn't it? And then this one here, just like that. Okay, okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just glue the paper down. Now I'm going to try my best not to glue the paper right down to the edge, if that makes sense, because I don't want it looking really, really flat. So if I put it on like that, when I come to ink this, we'll hopefully get, you know, a little bit of the edges of the paper sort of lifting up a sort of slight bit. Right, so, yep, let's just pop all those bits of paper down. Doing the same here, you know, not going too close to the edge, so that when I kind of ink it up, I'm hoping I'm going to get a bit of a lift, you know, from there. And then it's going to just have a bit more of a 3D sort of thing going on. I mean, that might not pan out, obviously, but that's the plan. Okay, this one. And then this little bit here as well. Yeah, my daughter's, you know, gone to school, obviously. And, yeah, she's arranged for her friend, who unfortunately went to a different school to her. It's kind of like her best friend. And, you know, what a shame, because they ended up going to different schools. And, yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? But anyway, they're still friends. And they're always on the phone, like, actually, mainly in the morning, you know, when they should be getting ready for school. And, yeah, she had messaged her saying that she had an inset, apparently, an inset day from school. And here in the UK, that's just like when the school is, you know, closed for, I don't know, sometimes it's teacher training, sometimes, well, I don't know, I assume it's mainly teacher training. But, yeah, anyway, her school was closed. And so she's going to go and meet my daughter from school when she finishes, so that they can go and hang out together after school. So I thought that was quite cute. So I'm going to drive to the school when my daughter finishes and meet the pair of them, because my daughter's got no money with her or anything. And I just suddenly thought, because they were then going to do something. I don't know what she meant they were going to do. You know, it might just be the park, in which case, obviously, she wouldn't need any money. But, hey, they might be going, like, maybe they'd go to, you know, McDonald's or something like that. And then she's got some money to be able to get something to eat. So, yeah, I'm going to do that in a little while. Well, not in a little while, but, you know, when she's kind of more finishing school time. Right, I have to be honest, these are looking quite tiny on here, which is a bit annoying. Yeah, I've misjudged, you know, when I said, oh, I've printed these 2 to a page because I thought they'd be better. They're actually too tiny, aren't they? They're looking ridiculous. That one's looking okay, actually, and I quite like it on that lace. So let's put this one down. Like that. Okay. Like that. And then the other one. Yep. Oops. I don't think that's very straight, but anyway, that's fine. I don't know about this one. It is very small. I've got a frame here. That's weird, isn't it? Oh well. Might have to just put it on and just hope for the best, but yeah, I'm kind of feeling a little bit disappointed on this one, to be honest. I'm like, and that's weird, isn't it? The label's bigger than the topper. That's just odd. Right, I've actually got a couple of other bits ready printed there. Not ready printed, ready cut out. So let's just use those, just because I thought, oh, otherwise I'm going to be like taking ages cutting another piece out. So yeah, I'm just going to pop that on there, I think. So, oops, I don't actually need to hot glue that down. I can just wet glue that. Okie dokie. I'm going to put it like to the side more. Like that. Okay. Oh, loving the look of that now. Really, really love that. Yeah. And then this one we shall put down here. Okay. Like that. Again, I've just popped her more to the side. And then this one. So yeah, this one I think we'll put on there. I'm just going to see whether I want to have, oops, have this label on here, although to be honest, it's not really anything blue on there, is there? So don't know why I'm saying, oh, not really. I mean, there's not literally no blue. It's like I'm trying to convince myself, well, there's not really any blue. No, there's just not any blue. Maybe a little... or maybe that. Yeah, so maybe I'll put this down. Again, I don't know why I'm now hot gluing this, but yeah. Pop that down there. Okay, right. Okay, I did also have slightly smaller labels here, so I'm just going to check that I wouldn't prefer to... No. On that one maybe, actually. Just pop this one down. Okay. Yeah, the school that my daughter goes to now, they're quite lucky because they finish a bit earlier. So she finishes like actually almost a whole hour earlier than she used to finish. So, you know, when I'm sort of saying, oh, I'm going to go to the school, although I'm talking about that and it's very early in the day still, it's because she finishes a whole hour earlier. So, you know, that is obviously, you know, a big difference, isn't it? I mean, she starts earlier. But yeah, she finishes earlier too. So, right. Okay. So that's that one. Let's put some labels on these ones as well to sort of like, you know, busy them up or brighten them up, or, you know, just add some extra detail. Right. Could have that there. I mean, is that a bit of a lot of blue? I don't know actually. Yeah, gonna have that one, I think. So pop this one down. So tired. I didn't really sleep very well last night, and oh no, I've just noticed I put that label upside down. As soon as I stuck it, I could see it was upside down. Oh, let me just peel it back off. Oh dear. Right, I'm gonna have to cover that up now with another label. Let's just put that on there. Yeah. Okay, just going to cut this light in half, glue it down, and then I'll trim it off, you know, whatever's overhanging. Because obviously it's got to go in that exact spot to cover up the paper. There we go. Just going to snip that off at the edge. Okay. Right, let's pop a couple of other labels down. So maybe that one there. Oh, actually. No, right, let's pop this down here. Like that. Okay, and then I'm going to just do one or two smaller labels here. Love this. I don't know, what colour would you call this? It's not jade, is it? It's like a sort of peacock bluey green, really. But yeah, isn't it a lovely colour? So I'm kind of thinking maybe something like that on this. Maybe to that side. I don't know why I'm using the hot glue, really. It's unnecessary, but yeah, that was just what sort of fell into my hand at the time. So if it's fallen into my hand, hey, I'm using it. It's that one. And then these two. Yeah, might have just a bit of this kind of there. I love a label cut in half to the side. Absolutely love it. It always looks good. Just one of those things that just is always, 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 always a winning look. Okay, and then, yeah, let's do... that one might be a bit too big. Let's just try this one. Yeah, maybe that one there. Again, this one might need a bit of trimming off, partly because it's a bit crooked, but okay, like that. Right. Okay, snip that down. Right, okay, so then what we're going to do, going to ink all around, and this is where what I'm saying is, oh dear, that's a bit too peely. I wanted it to look 3D, but my goodness, look at it now. Look at it now, it's right up. So yeah, just glue that down a bit. But can you see, like, we've got a bit of a lift there because I didn't go right to the edges with the paper. It's now got, you know, got a little bit of a sort of textury sort of appearance. So yeah, that was what I was hoping for. That one. And then these ones. Okay. I mean, to be honest, I could ink the backs of these, but because they are, you know, craft card, I don't really feel the need to do that. So, you know, that's another kind of like quite good reason for using the craft card, because you can be then a bit lazy and get away with not necessarily inking like the backs. So yeah, it's a bit of a sort of lazy shortcut there. Right, there we go. Okay, like that. Yep. And these ones. Oops, this was another one with the paper, wasn't it? I'm forgetting even which ones had the paper, so yeah. Right, there we go. I'm so sorry about that. It's that weird thing that my phone does, and I say this all the time lately, but honestly, since I assume an update or something, my phone just like literally cuts me off. When a phone call comes through, it just, that's it, cuts me off from filming. Never used to do that, so I don't know what that's about, but yeah, it's quite annoying, I must say. No, still not warmed up. So yeah, it was my mum who was on the phone, and yeah, haven't warmed up since obviously being on the phone to her. It's still just as cold. Right, okay, so we are nearly done inking up, and then oh my goodness, look at my shoddy tops. That's appalling. Don't know what was going on there. Not much better. Oh my goodness, hang on. Okay. Right. So we just need to now finish them off by just doing some tabs. So I'm going to do a few different things for tabs. So I've got a butterfly here. I don't know whether this is going to look good or not because it's not really the right colours, but again, just trying to, you know, use things that are just laying about really. So I'm going to give it a try and just see whether it does work or not. Okay. Actually, I quite like it on that one, I think. So if I'm using a butterfly or anything as a tab, then I like to ink the back of it, because obviously you're going to see the back from the back, if that makes sense. So oh, again, I'm just using that hot glue. Kind of addicted to using it, I think. So right, pop that down. Sorry, I was trying to balance it so as it didn't go dropping and bang, but yeah, obviously it did. There we go. Oh, stand up. Yep. So that's one tab. Okay. And then I'm just going to use a bit of lace, I think, as a tab for another one. Let's see. Maybe this one. Isn't it strange how just, you know, some kind of like lend themselves to something and some don't, you know, that lace. I mean, the tags are, you know, pretty similar, aren't they? But for some reason, the lace didn't look right on that other one, but it does look good on this one. So again, just going to staple that in. Not sure whether that's clamped that lace down. No, it hasn't gone through it on the other side. So what I'll do, I'll just kind of pop a little bit of glue on the back there, just to secure that better as well. Like that. And then what you can do, you know, like if you've used a bit of lace or something and stapled it down, well, or glued it down, you know, not necessarily stapled, but you could then just put a little line of bling just across there. So just take a little bit of bling and I'm just going to put it across there, and it just, you know, sort of very small difference, but makes quite a big difference, doesn't it? So like that. Okay, that's 2 done. Let's see what else I've got laying around. Got a little flower here which we could use as a tab, so oops. Okay. yeah, I mean, that looks gorgeous, doesn't it? So absolutely lovely. Okay, and then got some bluey green lace here. So should we try this on? I was thinking this one, but oh my goodness, on that one. Again, that's another one of those examples of, oh my gosh, when you put it on, you know, the one it's meant to be on, it suddenly is like, ah, that's the one. That looks brilliant. Because it just picks up that bluey green from that label, doesn't it? So again, I'm going to just staple this on. Oops. Oh gosh. Oh, I always find it a bit fiddly. Oh, that's what's happening. Look, my staple's kind of like doing that weird thing. You know, when it doesn't go through on one end kind of thing, and then it gets like bent up. It's doing that, which is just really annoying. Right, there we go. That's better. And again, you know, can just finish that off with a little bit of the bling like we did on the last one. Okay. Put that down. Oh my goodness. I mean, how gorgeous. Oops. How gorgeous does that look? Absolutely lovely. Okay, and then let's just see what else I've got floating about on the desk. I think another thing that would be quite nice to use is maybe a couple of wax seals. So let me just pull in a couple of the wax seals that I've got here that are, you know, ready done. So I don't know whether this one's going to be, it's quite a big one. I'll get out a couple. Oh, I'm so cold. This is just horrible. I hate feeling cold. Oh, I'm going to put it on here, I think. Yeah, that one looks quite nice. And then let's have a look. Again, that's massive, which is such a shame. Oh, that one looks okay, doesn't it? Yeah, so I might just have a couple of wax seals as tabs for those. So again, I mean, just pop the glue on like on the bottom half, because you want it obviously, you know, overhanging the tag. So like that. Okay. And this one. Oops. Like that. And then this one. Like that. Right, okay. You just got to be a bit careful when you're gluing down wax seals, you know, with hot glue, because it just makes the wax seal melt. So obviously, you know, you don't want to kind of then, for instance, like press it down with your finger, because actually you're just going to end up with a big fingerprint in your wax seal. So just something to kind of be aware of there. And then I've got some bows here as well, which I'm thinking could possibly look quite pretty on here. So, oh, I've not got the right colours really. That's annoying. Oh, the green doesn't look too bad. Not saying it's quite right, but it's not too bad. Have a look here. Pink. Oh, that one looks lovely on there, doesn't it? Okay. Like that. Okay. Oh, I love that one. That's gorgeous, isn't it? I love that blue and the pink together. Very pretty sort of combination, isn't it? Oops, and now just dropped the bows all over everywhere. Got one more with... I have got a lilac one. I mean, not that any of this has got lilac on, but I just thought it might... No. Oh, what about that? That's quite pretty, isn't it? And maybe that one up there. Oh, maybe that there, actually. Okay. Yep. Oh, how nice does that look? Okay, and then this one. Oops. Oh, stop it. The glue's now seeping out like there. Oh, I hate that. But never mind. I mean, you can't really notice it too much, to be honest. Right, so we've just got this one left. I don't know quite what to use on this one. I do have, I think, a blue bow somewhere in this little pot. Hang on. Okay, let's try the blue. It's not really the right colour blue, but it might look okay. Oh yeah, it does. So yeah, that's just... Oh, come on, smoosh that out. Okay. Like that. Oh, no, stuck on the desk. Okay. Like that. Gorgeous, gorgeous. So we haven't done too badly. So we've done 1, 2, 3. Oops. Just move that out of the way. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we've done 11, which actually isn't too bad, is it? I do still have a bunch of other bases ready cut, so you know I can now just get on with those quickly this afternoon, and then I'll have, well, I don't know how many are here, but yeah, a whole bunch of other ones as well. So yeah, pretty good, and you know, a whole bunch now ready in my stash, so I'm feeling very productive and really pleased with kind of, you know, what we've achieved. So yeah, let me know what you think. If you've made kind of some things like this, you know, following like a formula in quick time, then yeah, let me know how you get on. Love to see your pictures maybe in the Facebook group, or you know, if you do it on Instagram or whatever, then do kind of tag, you know, tag me and things in it. That would be fantastic. And yeah, really appreciate a big thumbs up to this video, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate you subscribing. Thanks so much then. Bye.